What is up, everybody? We are live now with Shots from the Sideline, Med from Shots from the Sideline. So we'll just jump right into the show.
The Mafia Members Podcast.
Okay, everybody, it is the Mafia Members Podcast. I'm Ben, Shakeback Media Group. Very excited to be joined by Med from Shots from the Sideline. So, Med, why don't you give us a quick little introduction, where we can find you, your social media, all that kind of stuff.
So, hey, everyone, how you doing? My name is Med, and I am from Shots from the Sidelines. It's a little football show that does both NFL and college football content. You can find me usually on Thursday nights, roughly around 7:15-ish. Depends on if Seth gets here on time or not. And we basically go for an hour. You will also find me on Twitter. Eventually, I'm going to be a little bit stronger on like Facebook and YouTube, but everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, right on. So we'll hop right into it. You're from South Carolina.
Yep. Basically, about 20 minutes outside of Savannah, Georgia. I live on the very tip of South Carolina. We're like any other traditional southeastern state where it stays like 100 degrees all the time, and it's a little slice of heaven in our own way. We got beautiful sunsets and we got mild winter, so I mean it's all gravy, baby.
Right on. So that's obviously a long way away from the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. So how did that happen?
So what ended up happening with me is when I was a little kid, my dad and mom were both Steeler fans, and I was only like 3 years old, and I just so happened to be over at my grandfather's house, hanging out with them, and they were watching one of the games, and it just happened to be the Colts and the Bears, and I was like 3 years old, so I just walk up, with my limited vocabulary and just like, hey, what's this? And, they're like, oh, it's football. And I was like, oh, so who's playing, and he was like the Colts and the Bears. So, of course, I knew what a bear was, and you're 3 years old. It's one of the coolest animals at that time. So I asked him, I was like, so what's a colt? And he was like, oh, it's a horse. I was like, oh, lame. Go Bears. And just walked off. And ever since then, 40 years since, I've been a Bears fan. So That's how it all started, and it's been some misery since the 90s. So it's all good.
Have you been to Chicago for a game?
Not yet, but my wife, we're talking about going up there. We want to go up there before Soldier Field is decommissioned, because they're already starting to look into building a new stadium. They're talking about a dome on another side of Chicago, but I want to go up there before Soldier Field is gone. I mean, that'd be like you going to Ralph Wilson Stadium and actually watching them, play at their original home when you first started liking them. So, but I have been to a Bears game in Atlanta, and man, we turned Atlanta into Chicago. That's all I'm saying.
Probably the same amount of people strapped in both cities.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you gotta remember to keep that too.
Yeah, my dad one time traveled down to Atlanta on a different business trip, and was shocked by seeing it. Like, just regular people in the meeting room, and like the girls in their purse or the guys had it on their hips or whatever.
When we went to the game, literally my wife and we went for a walk. Like, and I'm going to tell you right now, there's a place, if you find yourself in Atlanta or your dad does, check out Max Lagers. Dude, whoever's in the back cooking, dude is Jesus with steaks. All right. The dude just, he just straight
All
killed
good.
it. And I mean, it was the best tasting. Like, me and my wife were just sitting there, just like, like that, not even talking, just like, oh my God, steak. So we leave and I stop and get a Coke. Well, my wife, she's lived in bigger cities. Like, she lived up in Pittsburgh, and then before she moved down here, Detroit. And then she was like, I'm tired of snow. So she moved down to the South where we met in Savannah. And she's used to homeless. I'm from rural South Carolina, so I'm not quite used to the homeless. And dude, one guy started to approach us, and I stopped. I was like a deer in the headlights. I kind of looked at him, and she was like, "Why'd you stop?" And I said, "There's a guy coming." She kept walking, dude, and like left me there, and I'm like holding my Coke. And he's like, "Hey, you got $10?" I don't ever carry money on me. So I was like, "No." He was like, "Well, can I get a sip of your Coke?" I said, "You could have my Coke." And I like ran, she like was a clear block away by that time. I was like, she moved fast.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I remember one time I was in Rochester on my way to a Bills game, and I had to stop for gas, and kind of had the same situation. Some guy came up and was offering to pump the gas for me, I guess, so I could try and give him a tip as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, man, like, it's okay. The guy's like teeth were falling out, like his dentures were like falling out, and I was just like, man, this is not my scene. Like, I'm just trying to pump my gas and get in and get out. And there was like a big white Suburban that was hollering at me, like, "Let the man fill up your gas. Let him fill it." I was like, I need to get out of here. Lock all the doors. Like, just get me out of here.
Only got $2.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me today. I do appreciate it. I know that we're talking about next week, but we'll see what happens with that. But really a joy to be with you today.
No, awesome. Thanks for taking it on the last minute there. We had something fall through, and awesome that you're able to make it work. Really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, so we'll hop into it. So first off is, how do you think your off season is going as a Bears fan? I'd imagine you'd have to feel pretty happy with how the off season has went for you guys.
So far so good. I mean, of course there is a certain player that was drafted number 1 overall that is really like getting some rave reviews right now, especially with his last preseason game. But
we won't talk about the preseason. We're not talking about that preseason game, okay?
Not that particular one.
This is a Bills show. This is a Bills show.
Don't say anything. So, good. Ghost is here. Okay, cool. Another Bears fan. Hey, Ghost. But no, we're actually doing really good. I mean, we re-signed some key players, Jalen Johnson, of course, Montez Sweat, to big contracts. They're locked in for the next 4 years or so. So it's good cornerstone pieces. We are rebuilding the offensive line, which is something that should have been done a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, Justin Fields just did not have any weapons around him other than DJ Moore in his last season there. And before that, it was Mooney and Cole Kmet. It feels like they learned from that experiment. And I hate to say it like that, as an experiment, because that's what it really looks like at this point. They have more weapons. They brought in Keenan Allen, which was a coup for a 4th round pick. You got Rome Odunze, who was picked with the 9th pick overall. They restructured the defense last year, and it really gelled. And it seems like that momentum is coming into this year. We were pretty active on free agency, not really getting any deal that really blew the bank, if you would say, but getting some solid contributors that can actually help the team out in the long run. And for the young guys, help build a camaraderie and chemistry to actually build this team up for the future. Ryan Poles, in my opinion, is doing a great job. And a lot of Bears really feel that way too. So, I mean, it's like night and day since the days of Ryan Pace trading all of our draft picks away.
Yeah, I can understand the pain because we went through, I couldn't tell you, with the Trent Edwards, the JP Lossmans, EJ Manuel, like all of these, like and when you find someone who you think can actually turn around the face of your franchise, it's just like getting just such a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like, okay, this is why I became a football fan, was to like cheer for a good team.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, everyone knows that the Bears right now are the only team that has never had a 4,000-yard quarterback. Haven't had anyone that passed, and it's definitely a really bad stat when you've been one of the founding franchises in the NFL. So it's like, we've been here for over 100 years and we haven't done it yet. I mean,
yeah. I think it's kind of going to be like, how like when teams win a Super Bowl, they say like the Super Bowl hangover, and you're just like, I feel like that's like with the fans when like a Josh Allen comes in, or with a Caleb Williams, it's like, okay, we're going to be, we got to get over this Justin Fields hangover of like not being okay cheering for our team almost. Because like for Buffalo fans, at least, I was like, it took me 3 years of Josh Allen to be like, feel comfortable even cheering for the team and being like, expecting wins versus expecting another loss.
And I mean, y'all had a rough stretch there during the 90s where y'all made it to every Super Bowl that we won't talk about either. But the fact that you made it, I mean, the teams that y'all had back then, I mean, y'all, besides y'all's AFL years, I mean, y'all have been pretty sturdy. Like you said, you did have the JP Lossmans, but you also had the Jim Kellys and the Thurman Thomases and the Bruce Smiths. I mean,
yeah,
y'all had some legit dudes that really got after it. And, it's very easy to root for the Bills because it's just, I love their old school look helmets and stuff, like the white helmets with the blue buffalo. I love the way their uniforms look. I like the coach. I mean, he was from, I believe, Carolina, right? The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Sean McDermott. Yeah, he used to be.
And Josh Allen, the one comparison a lot of people have with him is that he reminds a lot of people of Brett Favre. And, of course, me being a Bears fan, that brings up nightmares in some ways. But I mean, the dude he's a baller, and I mean, he'll take that team as far as it needs to go, and hopefully one day he'll win one for y'all.
Yeah, I hope so too. I feel like people are saying our window is closed, but I also feel like Allen is a kind of a guy that, as long as he's there, the window is open. Okay, so the next one, I don't know if you can do anything less than an A++, but okay. What would you say your draft grade is?
You pretty much just said it. I mean, you honestly, what feels like could be a franchise quarterback. I mean, I'm trying to keep my expectations to grounded a little bit because I'm 43 years old. I mean, I've heard it when we had K McNow, with Mitchell Trubinsky, Justin Fields, the list goes on. And, but when you sit there and you watch what Caleb was able to do, and the fact that Justin Fields was not able to do it, like he actually went through the progressions of all of his targets. Yeah. Whereas Justin Fields was like, he would look, if the guy wasn't open, he would try to run. And it was just, like I said, I love Justin Fields, but he was just not that dude for us. And if you don't have that dude for 3 years, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But Rome Odunze, of course, I'm very excited about him. He had an interesting stat on him is he has a 75% success rate when he's catching a contested ball, which is huge. I can't pronounce his name. I'll just say his first name, Karan, from Yale. He's a project, but he's really solid. I really did like that pickup. He's a project for right now, especially with the younger. We got pretty young offensive line. We also got your boy Ryan Bates in the offseason, and then you got Austin Booker, who I'm extremely excited for. And then we got a punter in the fourth round.
So do you
best punter?
Obviously, when you're drafting like first overall, were they the worst team, or was that because of a trade that they got the first overall pick? And they were supposed to be picking ninth, right?
We were supposed to be picking ninth, and we actually made a trade a year prior with the Carolina Panthers, who ended up getting Bryce Young.
Yes, that's right.
It ended up being a coup because we also brought in DJ Moore, who just, I believe, shattered some receiving records with the Bears, which ain't really that hard to do. You know, we run the ball and play defense. So I mean, but you know, he has just been amazing since he got there. He just got a brand new contract. I want to say it was 4 years and maybe $100 million. Like maybe Ghost can actually clear that up for me. And also see that Isaac from Fun Football Podcast is on here. But
yeah, I just tried to send him the link. I don't know if it'll work or not, but
he better bring it in here.
Yeah. So, what I was going to say is when you're drafting that high, you obviously have lots of needs to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, like, obviously with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, they fill the quarterback need and a wide receiver need, but kind of rounds 2 through 7, like, do you think they did enough getting other positions of need?
Well, as far as drafting, punter, you know, I kind of I winced when I saw that. But I mean, with the young man from Karen, I can't. I'll try to pronounce his name real quick. Let me butcher something today.
While you do that, we're gonna add Isaac here. He just joined in.
That's what's up. What's up, bro?
Oh, you just missed me. I knew you did, man. Actually, I gotta get my hat, but no, we'll do the hatless gang. How you guys doing, man?
Oh, sweet. Oh man, doing lovely.
We're good, man. How are you? We're just going through some introductions and some drafting stuff and some off-season talk.
Sorry I was late. I honestly wasn't sure. My wife's she's pneumonia, and I wanted to be taking care of her, but she's about to lie down, so that's why I was like, I don't know, because I was just running and getting her food and getting her set up. She's been pretty sick, so
he gave her.
I had to do that first, and me and him did a show last night, so
yeah,
right on. So
Amagaje. I think I said it right. I'm not.
Amagaje. Yeah, I'm hoping he pans. Is he Med? Is he starting right now? I think he's backing up, right?
He's backing up. He's
the swing tackle. Gotcha. Yeah, the Bears draft. They traded that Bryce Young. What all happened in that trade, Med? It was the number 1 pick. They gave up DJ Moore, the number 1 pick, to get Bryce Young, and there was something else in there too, wasn't it?
There was the 4th round pick that actually went to get Keenan Allen.
Yeah. So basically, the Panthers gave up DJ Moore, and the Bears got the number 1 pick for. So they turned Bryce Young into Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and I think a depth piece. I think this tackle too.
It might be the tackle, but I want to say Stevenson, one of our cornerbacks, is actually part of that deal too.
There's somebody else. It's another player too. It's like 5 or 6 guys for Bryce Young, including Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen. Worst trade in NFL history.
Oh man, it's got to be up there. It's got to be up there.
Dude. Hey, I'm happy to do this. I was actually, me and Med were talking about doing this next week, so it's cool we're doing it now.
Yeah, awesome. I'm happy that everyone was able to join. So Isaac, obviously, from at Fun Football Pod, go check him out. These guys are the ones we were just talking about. They do a show together called Blitz. I just watched the one with that you guys had with Talking Football.
Oh man, that was fun.
I've had them on my show. They're a great group of guys. I feel even though I'm a Bills fan, I feel like I need to come to Tua's defense after that episode. That was he's 1-6 against Buffalo. He's 1-6 against Buffalo. So I don't think he's that great. But I think he's a lot better than you guys gave him credit for on that show. I'll tell you that.
I mean, if he's 1-6 against Buffalo, that sounds like Jay Cutler against the Packers. I mean, God.
What was he like? 2 and what did we just say it was? 2-9, 2-11. Oh, I mean, he didn't finish the conference championship, so games he finished 2-10. So,
well, he finished that cigarette.
The problem with Tua is that he lights up lesser competition, and he really. Here's the deal, though. let's give him a little more time. He only had one full season as a starter. My concern is similar to Dak Prescott. He really struggled. Like his stats, man, not just everything. Everything dropped off so significantly against any winning team last year. He didn't play that great in that Dallas game, and it wasn't a small sample size. It was like 6 or 7 games, and he everything efficiency wise dropped off massively. Like I can back it up with numbers, but it was bad.
Yeah, and Dan was saying like he doesn't play well in weather, right? Anytime
that's why I think that he's going to do really well in Green Bay in November.
But the problem with that is every good team in the AFC is north and plays in bad weather.
So that's not going to be a
Kansas City, success. Baltimore, Cincinnati. All these teams are outdoor bad weather teams, and for Miami to do well, they're going to have to figure that out. Yeah. Okay. So Isaac, we'll ask you the same question we just left off with Med was a draft grade. How do you think the Packers did in the draft if you were to give them a grade?
Oh, really quick, I'll give the Bears grade. I'm going to give it a B+ because you don't take a punter in the 4th round. But if Caleb's as good as we think, and Adonze's is good, and Kieran Amagaje, the only problem is they didn't have enough picks to make it an A. But if Caleb and Rome hit, then it's an A. It won't. The punter won't matter. And if the tackle or the punter end up being solid, to me, if you land your franchise quarterback and a stud receiver, it's an A. But I just can't go there because they only have 5 picks total, and if 1 or 2 miss, so I'll go B+. The Packers, my problem is that their first pick doesn't look like he's going to start. That's a little annoying. But to land the best linebacker in the draft and then one of the best safeties in the draft, and to get one of my favorite running backs, I'm going to give them a B+ as well because I can't go A, even though they had 11 picks. But I like the fact they doubled down on depth. I just wish they'd gotten, instead of one of the safeties or one of the linebackers, I kind of wish that or even heck, one of the offensive linemen. I wish they'd gotten a defensive lineman, because our defensive line gets bullied against strong teams, and that's annoying. Like we suck at stopping the run. Like we would have struggled against y'all last year if James Cook was rolling, like the Cowboys, because we're kind of small up front, and we need a space eater. I just want a big body.
You guys do owe us that playoff win against Dallas for showing you the blueprint on how to beat Dallas. You guys pretty much copied us play for play in that playoff game.
Bully that team. They don't like to be physical. If you can out physical Dallas, they will shrink. Miami's similar, but at least they can run the ball. But man.
So here's a question from Pass Rush Diary. Bears and Bills fans, how does it feel having a franchise quarterback? Vikings fan here. So obviously with the news of JJ.
How does that feel? Ouch.
I mean,
it feels great. It feels great. Luckily, Allen panned out. I feel like at that time in the draft, I was on the Josh Rosen train and was a little bit disappointed in the Josh Allen pick, like most Bills fans. And
dodged a bullet.
Very happy to dodge that bullet. That's an L I'm happy to take all day, every day.
Are you saying you're off the Josh Rosen train now? What happened?
I mean, all I know is he said that there's 9 other people that made mistakes. Those picks. So, I mean, and real quick, Pass Rush Diary. Dude, I'm sorry that actually happened. It's one of those things. Me and Isaac have talked about this. We just want a more competitive division, and I feel like we both talked about this, that the NFC North is headed that way, and especially after the fact that JJ McCarthy had such a great game. I mean, his first highlight, I remember my buddy was saying, "Man, we should have talked about JJ McCarthy. He killed it." The very first highlight I saw, he threw an interception. I was like, "Okay, Seth." But then you saw him kind of recover from that, and he was able to drop 2 very good passes for touchdowns. I mean, he threaded the needle on a few of these, and I mean, it was amazing. And then you hear the news that, he's going to be gone for a good minute. And then also Addison was carted off.
I heard JJ's out for the whole season. They reported today.
Yeah,
which sucks.
For the whole season. JJ and Addison just left the practice today or whatever it was. But
if Addison's out, it won't matter how good Jefferson is. Jones would have to be just outstanding. I just think the Vikings are in a world of trouble with the rest of the division.
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle to win more than one divisional game, and I don't know what game that'd be at this point. It sucks for them. Seriously,
Like I was saying about Buffalo. We got beat down by New England for 20 years, and now that we're good, it sucks that they're also like so bad. Because like you would have liked to have some of that competition and like have it be like an actual rivalry rather than like just one team dominating and then switching to us being better, and like you want to be on an even playing field almost and build a little bit more of a rivalry with it.
I got a question for you. Do you think that the Bills are going to be able to retool this offense fast enough to to be a legitimate, like they might actually be able to dethrone KC?
Yeah,
while Allen's still in his physical prime.
I think
they got a good window here, about 3 more years.
I was just saying before you hopped on here that as long as Josh Allen's under center, your window is never really closed. My hot take on fantasy football this offseason has been that Keon Coleman is going to be the best rookie wide receiver out of the group. Like I think just because of the situation and the targets that he's going to get, he's going to finish higher than a Malik Neighbors or in fantasy points. I'm not saying he's the better wide receiver. I'm just saying in fantasy points production wise, I think Keon Coleman is number one.
I actually think Curtis Samuel is going to be really underrated.
Curtis Samuel is going to be great.
I think Curtis Samuel, he's going to throw the ball to somebody. And I've been hearing Kincaid hasn't been blowing the doors off people. So that only pretty much leaves Dawson Knox or Curtis Samuel.
And Khalil Shakir. And Khalil Shakir.
I was going to say Shakir.
Shakir, if he can hit Samuel, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, they weren't using Diggs that significantly at the end of last year, but the problem is that James Cook is a little undersized for 300 plus touches. So I'm curious what's going to happen. Who's going to get touches either in the run game, or they're going to have to be decent passing.
Yeah, it is like Josh Allen is our running game and our passing game. I think like James Cook, very under the radar, was the 6th total scrimmage yards all of last year. So I think he's very underrated when it comes to like his production. His issue is going to be catching the ball out of the backfield. He has bad case of the drops, and especially all the sounds coming out of training camp this year is he just can't catch the ball. But we will be like a run first team, so I expect it to be a lot of James Cook and our rookie Ray Davis, and actually. The only bright spot on our preseason game against the Bears was Frank Gore Jr. If he can be even a shadow of what his dad was, then I think we really hit on that undrafted free agent. So
I got one more? You may have already said this, or maybe it's one for later. But do you think you repeat and win the AFC East again, or do you guys think you're a wild card?
No. I think we take the division. I think within our division we'll beat everybody. I don't think there's a team that I think Miami and the Jets will give us struggles, but I think we'll be the best team in our division. I think for sure. The issue I find in the AFC is that like if you don't win your division, it's going to be so hard to get a wild card spot. Like if teams that are going to be in the wild card are going to be, Houston, Miami, who else? Indianapolis, probably. Like the Chargers are probably going to be around there. Like,
yeah, I had when I did my divisional thing. I don't know if Med did. You did. Did you go through and do predictions too?
Not yet.
So when I did all 30, sorry, go ahead. You're good.
I was going to say originally we were going to shelve that until a little bit closer to the start of the season, and then we were going to do college football preview this Thursday, but life happens.
Honestly, I would do one with you tomorrow, but then I'd be at 4 days in a row because I've got a show Friday and a draft on Saturday. And this was a quick one, and she's already lying down. That's why I was like, okay. Plus, it's for you Mafia members, and that's there. So I was like, we got to do this because we've been talking for a while, and dude, you put on a really awesome show. So I was like, let's do it. I had in the AFC, I had 3 teams out of the AFC North making the playoffs. then you're left with the 3 other division winners. That only leaves one more wild card spot, and that was counting the Steelers out of the playoffs. I had them 9-8 because Tomlin's good. He's never had a losing record, so I got to see it. It's just like Tyreek Hill. I've got to see him slow down. Like I actually got to see it happen before I'm going to believe it. It'll happen eventually, or even Travis Kelce. Like you got to actually see them when the time really counts. You got to actually see them fail because they just don't. So I'm giving Mike Tomlin the benefit, but I had them missing the playoffs at 9-8. I had y'all actually tied with the Jets, but I had you guys winning the tiebreaker at 10-7 because my concern was you lost so many pieces on D, you have so many new pieces on offense, but Josh Allen still is good for a winning record. I just I want to see if that late game surge with the running because Cook fell off the last 2. I want to see if they can figure out the rotation and be a run first team and translate that into less Josh Allen turnovers and more success like they had at the end of last year.
Yeah, for sure. And the defensive pieces that we lost, like it's more of a leadership. It wasn't from an on the field because the two safeties and Tre'Davious White, like the numbers that the amount of games that those 3 actually played in the same game is like it was 3 times in the past like 2 seasons that they were actually all on the field at the same time. But from Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, you lose the leadership aspect of it and the understanding of the scheme that they can help teach everybody else. So I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact as people are making it out to be, but everybody puts their own team's blinders on and just, thinks the best.
It's like my team. They're super young. Like I can't pick them to win the Super Bowl when they're the youngest team in the NFL. They do it great. I have them making the wild card, but I can't go further than that because they're so young still, even though they got some playoff experience last year. When you have a bunch of new pieces, it can take time. It doesn't necessarily. It's similar to my team where it's similar to Mets too. He's got really important pieces that are in their rookie or second season with the team. A lot of big ones. Yes, they brought in Keenan Allen, which might help accelerate that. But the offensive line still's got some retooling. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on. You just turned and you look mad.
You're just going to sit there and stare at me when I'm standing at it sideways, evidently. Yeah, my phone just died. Hold on.
You went green and then you went, you were staring at it like, it was awesome. It was kind of fun. But
I think a big piece of our defense actually we got from you guys last season in Rasul Douglas, and I think that I think he's going to be a big part of our defense this year.
I wish we hadn't let him go. That was such a dumb move for a 3rd round pick. Like I'm still mad about that shit. It's like, come on, just pay the guy. He's worth it. He's well worth it. We need it, honestly. I like Valentine, but Stokes has been hurt. He'd be perfect for our defense. The game I went to 3 years ago, he picked off Stafford for a pick 6. That's what the guy does. He's a really underrated corner. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But I think with us, he'd had some, he made some plays, but he also gotten burnt a lot. And I think they saw the age and wanted to draft a younger corner. It just was, in my opinion, a mistake. It helps to have some veterans.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question I got for both of you guys is...
That's here. I see green. It's green for the Packers, right, man?
One player and or player group that you're keeping your eye on in training camp that needs to step up from what they did last year.
I got this.
What's the one thing that you're looking up for?
This is perfect because I just made a YouTube video about it because my buddy he found, I don't remember who it was, but some expert, a Packer homer, because I try not to be. I'm trying to be unbiased about my team. I try to be. It's hard, you put the blinders on. But they had the Packers receiving core, like including the tight ends, as the best in the NFC North before this Addison injury. And I was like, what? Okay, first of all, you look at the Bears. They've got Romadunze, the rookie, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. That's right there for me. I actually had the Vikings at 1 if Addison's healthy, because Justin Jefferson's the best weapon in the division.
Yep.
But then you got Addison, KJ Osborne's not a bad slot. And then if Hawkinson's healthy, that's one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. Addison was great last year. Like that's behind only a few receiving cores, maybe. Like maybe the Dolphins, but they don't have the tight end. So you got those.
Yeah, they have a 1-2. They don't have a 3 and a 4.
Exactly. They don't. Yeah. And the Bengals, like you could argue with that third receiver rookie, but they don't have a tight end. So I actually would argue the Vikings probably do have the best receiving core in the league. So this is total bullshit. And then even the Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown, a top 10 receiver easy, probably 5. And Sam Laporta, he's one of the best 2 or 3 tight ends in football. So they've got 2 better weapons than anybody on the Packers. Yes, they have depth, but that's so dumb when you get these unbiased guys that say this crap. So I'm putting the Packers receiving core on notice. I want to see if a Dontavian Wicks, a Jaden Reed, a Romeo Doubs, a Christian Watson. I do need somebody to step up and be the one. I'm tired of this bullshit. We don't need a one. Yes, we do. That's just saying that because they don't want to admit it. So, and that was perfect because I was talking with my biased friend earlier, who's not on Twitter, but I'd call him out on Facebook. Med knows him. He's very biased. So there you go. I think that's one group that has to step up for Jordan Love to achieve the success he wants to achieve, and for the Packers to make a real push in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, Med, what about you? One player and or a player group that you think that you're keeping your eye on in training camp, or someone that needs to like step up through the season in order for the Bears to succeed?
So, I mean, me personally, I mean, it's obvious which one most people would say, which would be the quarterback position with the rookie quarterback. But just to be a little bit different, I'm going to just say the secondary of the Bears defense. Because, I mean, you look at what we lost. Eddie Jackson left was let go. And, I mean, also you could say the offensive line. But I'm going to lean more towards the secondary because you look at what the rest of the division has. I mean, the Packers cut us up with a receiving core that's extremely talented and doesn't have a number 1 first round draft pick on it. I mean,
or a number 1 weapon.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got so many interdimensional parts. And then you look at the Detroit Lions, who have Laporta, who is arguably the best tight end, at least in fantasy right now. He is projected number 1.
I like it. I agree, dude. I think he is the best.
So,
and St. Brown.
But yeah, you look at all those other players, and I mean, the only way that you're going to really get ahead in the NFL now is if you can stop the pass. And I mean, it's just the way it is in today's NFL. You got to be able to rush the pass. You got to be able to pass, and you need to be able to stop it.
That's my concern with the Packers, do we have a pass rush, and can that defensive line actually stop the run with the 4-3, and are they going to be able to rush the passer, and are they actually going to be just not freaking mediocre at stopping the run? Because I'm tired of it. Like, the 49ers beat us because they had George Kittle and McCaffrey. It was that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into the second phase of the show, the second segment of the show. This is called Standing on Business.
Nice.
So this is where we give a hot take, and you have to either agree or disagree, or it's meant to be just more of like a conversation, kind of like a good morning football, where you see like the question come up on the bottom and everyone kind of says what they say about it. Okay, so the first one, I only really have Bears questions here.
It's okay. I told you last time.
The first one I have is Caleb Williams is being overhyped right now.
It's kind of hard to, I mean, in all honesty, you look at the way that his career trajectory was. After he was a sophomore, when he had won the Heisman and everything, that bar was already set up here. Mm-hmm. And, it's one of those things that is really hard to reattain. And a lot of people expected him to go ahead and win a second Heisman, which only one person ever done it before, which is Archie Griffin from Ohio State, running back, baby. I know these things. But, you look at what a lot of people, I think in some ways he's overhyped for the simple fact. It's hard to say that he's overhyped because he's honestly the best prospect that we've actually drafted for that position in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're talking the whole franchise. I mean, the last person that we had that was a Pro Bowl quarterback was Jim McMahon back in 1985. I mean,
yeah, I think the thing is it's almost like like when LeBron James came into the NBA and it was like, this is the second coming of Christ here. Like, and LeBron James like actually lived up to the hype. So it's like you set an impossible bar, and it's like, if he only wins one Super Bowl for the Chicago Bears in his career, it's going to seem like okay, well, we thought we were getting 20 Super Bowls from this guy.
One, I was 4 years old the last time they won it, or 3, gladly.
Yeah, I was 4.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, 5. I was 5. No, yeah,
So
no. I
kindergarten.
mean, if he won a Super Bowl, let's be honest, erect a statue. He's getting.
Oh
a
yeah,
statue.
Buffalo would do the same for Josh Allen for sure.
Exactly.
But
I'll
like,
take
we're
one.
expecting him. We're expecting him to come in here and be like. We're expecting him to come in here and be like Tom Brady and win 7, 8, 9 Super Bowls, and like that's just not a realistic thing. So I think we're hyping him a little bit too much.
The problem with like the Packers fans like clowning the Bears fans, but we only have 2 Super Bowls since the 1960s. Like, come on, like
that was a dig that I gave him.
And it's true.
I said, how do you have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks yet only 2 Super Bowls to show?
Right.
Well, and if we want to speak about overrated quarterbacks, Jordan Love has now entered the conversation.
Ooh.
I'll say this, Caleb. I just want to see him play first, so I'm going to kind of agree. But he does look pretty special, and he's got a really good opportunity to succeed. I just like the games to start so we can actually evaluate the guy, because it's impossible to evaluate when he hasn't even,
played an actual.
Has he played a preseason snap yet? So no, like it's training camp. Like freaking AJ Dillon looks good in training camp. What does he do in a game? Nothing. So like, let me see a little game action first. As for Jordan Love, since you snuck that in,
I mean AJ Dillon, he's the best. Like
he's got the quads of a horse.
3.5 average ever.
Oh my gosh, he's such a honestly, he must be a really good dude. I would totally gladly have him on my show, and I'd be respectful. Like, come on, like, dude, he's not even a complimentary back anymore. He must just be there for leadership, because I don't know why they don't just cut the guy and roll with Wilson.
He's there for attaboys.
Yeah, attaboy.
Did a great attaboy. Way to run the ball and watch from the sideline.
I need to see consistency from Jordan Love, but it is also difficult when your receiving core so young. And I think that part of that and our offensive line, I could put and no running game. And he had his best, what was supposed to be his best 2 weapons out for, I think, a collective like 13 games last year, Watson and Dubs. And then Aaron Jones barely played. He missed like 10 or 11 games, and he still put up 32 TDs. So I got to give him credit for pulling that off with the youngest receiving core and most of the weapons hurt. Oh, and his tight end. But he did struggle with ball accuracy and placement at times early on the season. So I want to see consistency, but
there's people that are already saying he's like a top 5 quarterback in the league.
No,
he's getting paid like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
No, and I'm like, I go like 9-ish.
See, that's fair. That's fair. But I feel I
would put him above like a Tua. I mean, he did more than Tua did with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill last year, and Mostert. So I mean, I'm going to rate him above Tua because he was better. I don't know if he's better than Justin Herbert. He'd be in that camp for me because Herbert has a losing record, but he's had terrible coaching. So I'd put him around Herbert. They both have pretty awesome arm talent. So Love made some throws last year. I was like, oh my God. But there were also throws he made. I was like,
oh my God.
Oh my God.
You made that throw?
The
way he just
luck too. There was some luck.
That rainbow.
That Chiefs one. That Chiefs one. Where he's going back, he was about to get hit, and he's just dropped it. It dropped right into the guy. It was so lucky. But we also struggled against the freaking Giants. We lost to them. We barely beat the Panthers. There were teams, I mean, like the Bucks clowned us.
That's the problem with Buffalo too. Buffalo tends to play down to their opponent. Miami hung 70 on Denver, and then we lost to Denver. Like, we almost lost to the Giants. New England Patriots beat us last year. Like, there's lots of times
that's why I think y'all are going to struggle early on. Like, I think
we'll struggle early on for sure. Yeah.
That's why I have you guys around 10 wins, because I think and that's why I have the Packers, because even though you lost pieces that weren't playing a ton, you still are incorporating a lot of new talent on offense. And as good as Josh Allen is, there's only so much you can put on a quarterback. Like, he doesn't have the defense that Mahomes has, unless they figure it out. Like, it could be good. I just don't think it's going to end up being a top 5 unit this year. A lot of that also, I mean, Von Miller, we're going to see what he's got too.
Yeah. The Bills have, like, they've in recent seasons, they've had like high ranked defenses.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like how like the Golden State Warriors were like a top defense. When your offense is on the field 100% of the time and like scoring lots of points, like it's easy for your defense to look good. I think we've had like I think Matt Milano is a very good linebacker. We've had usually we've had some good safety plays. So I think like we did have good pieces, but I think our defense was a little bit there was a little bit of smoke there that was like
I'm just ready for football to start. I mean, I'm sad that we took like 3 more weeks. I'm just like, come on. I'm tired of this preseason crap, except for fantasy. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
It's time for real games. It's time for real games.
Let me see. What else do I got?
Matt's ready. I can tell. He wants to see what Caleb has.
Okay. Let me see. What else do I got? Okay. So if Patrick Mahomes wins if Patrick Mahomes three-peats, he is automatically a top 3 quarterback of all time.
He already is for me.
He already is for you?
Yeah, I have him behind Montana and Brady. He's third.
Okay.
I think Med's pretty similar on that, actually.
I'm very close to that. I would say he's closer to 4 with me because I think that.
Who's 3?
mean, who's 3?
Yeah.
I actually have John Elway at 3, I believe, because I look at the fact that he was able to carry 3 Denver teams that didn't have a running game or really a really stout defense. I mean, Elway was a special talent, and I know a lot of people.
No, I have him 4.
Yeah.
The only reason I would elevate Mahomes above him is because he lost Tyreek Hill and won back-to-back. Nobody's ever going to be able to say that. That's like a trump card for me now. Like, it's just so stupid good.
If he was to three-peat, then that would put him in. I hate to say it, I would say it'd be almost the top dog. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, but Brady won 7 Super Bowls. Brady never three-peated.
Yeah, but
see, the thing is when Brady got his 5th ring, which was more than Montana, and people were still like, I don't know, is he better than Montana yet or not?
He got 6, then 7.
And then he got 6 until it got to a point where everyone's like, okay, he's clearly the best. Yeah. Mahomes is going to have to do something like that for us to be like, okay, no, he's clearly the best.
But who's going to dethrone him? I'm a little concerned they are going to three-peat. Like, is somebody going to freaking step up? Like,
Josh Allen.
I think he needs to do it. He needs to beat him once. Yeah. Him and Jackson need to pull it off. Burrow did it. Burrow's done it twice. He needs to do it one time. He's got it. One of those 2 guys have got to get it done soon because they're very reliant. Both of them are on their athleticism and their strength, and that stuff unfortunately starts to fade when you hit 30. So,
but I don't know how much of a hot take it is. I actually have Peyton Manning as my 3rd quarterback, behind Montana, and then Brady being number 1.
I got him
5. I've like all my time watching football, I've never seen someone like the IQ level of Peyton Manning was unmatched. It's almost like you could have saved a whole bunch of money and not even hired an offensive coordinator because like he was just out there doing it anyways. So I just on that alone, I put him over a lot more people just because of his IQ, his a bit like obviously he was a great quarterback as well, but just as much as we give credit to like a Lamar Jackson for running or a Patrick Mahomes for having great arm strength or whatever, like the IQ level I think also is a trait that is very important for a quarterback, and he was by far the number 1.
The only reason I dock Peyton a little bit is because his regular season play, he might be the greatest. Like, I don't know if like career wise, if anybody matches him, it was like, it wasn't quite James Harden-esque, but it dropped off a little in the postseason. It's a little unfair because he ran into Belichick and Brady, but it just sucked because he ran into Brady so many times. That really hurts him.
That's
really
my defense right now for Josh Allen is like, okay, we're knocking him because he's losing to the fourth greatest quarterback of all time. Like, is that really that big of a knock?
No, he's great. Josh Allen to me, I heard you guys say this earlier when I was listening in the comments before I saw your message to hop on. Josh Allen to me is like Brett Favre. Can he? I don't know if he has the coaching or the weapons. I'm hoping they can figure it out because I'd love to see the Bills get a ring. If not my team, like the Lions or Bills need to freaking get a ring.
Yeah.
Like it's time, or the Vikings, but they're further away, unfortunately. So, but like the Lions or Bills need to get a ring. It's time, or the Bengals. I'd like to see one of these three teams win. If not my Packers or the Bears, like I want to see a team, but I picked those three because they never won one. What y'all did in the '90s was unprecedented, making 4 in a row. But it'd be cool to see y'all get one. And this dude is special. What I'm going to be curious is if he can learn from Favre's mistakes. And there were chances in that, and I hate to dog him, but there were some opportunities in that Chiefs game to not take the home run and to take a single or a double. That would have a smaller play. Like, Dick dropped a long one, but he took some shots deep when he had Gabe Davis over the middle. And I want to see if he can progress on the intellectual part of the game because he does turn the ball over a lot. That would help the team. I think they started running it because they want to take the ball out of his hands just a little bit, and they were better for it. So I'm going to be curious.
My thing on Josh Allen is, yes, he throws too many picks. Maybe he should slide or step out of bounds a little bit more. But anything that you're doing, like I've used the example before, like he's a Mustang and you're trying to put saddles on him. If you try and tell him what to do, you're trying to put a harness on him.
It's like a roller coaster. Like
the best thing you can do is to just let him make a couple mistakes because he's going to make up for it more often than not. The real reason why we lost that game last year is because we had a guy come off the couch on Thursday and try and go out and guard Travis Kelce on Saturday. We didn't have anybody as a linebacker. Even Rasul Douglas was playing injured. Our safeties were out. Like we just didn't have anybody on the field. Like they were taking what was that movie in Invincible there where they were taking the Philadelphia Eagles were just taking house calls. Like that's essentially what the Bills did for linebackers last year in the playoffs.
And Chris Jones made a couple impact hits or sacks at the very opportune moment. There were just little things that it wasn't just Mahomes that lost all that game. They hung in there. It's just like when it's that close, I want to see if Allen one time outside of that stupid game where they didn't get the ball back in overtime.
Yeah.
I want to see if he can match Mahomes in the playoffs because he was pretty solid in that game. But unfortunately, against the Mahomes, to beat him, you kind of got to go berserk and have some luck.
The other thing too, the other aspect too is like we alternate wins with Kansas City. We beat them and then they beat us. It just so happens that we play them first in the regular season and that's when we win. And then we go and play them again in the playoffs and that's when they win. And then we beat them. And then so we're just on the wrong end of that win-loss thing.
Yeah.
But the last one,
Andy Reid. It's bad.
Andy Reid, I feel like that like scheme and play style and play design, I feel like that's very overlooked when it comes to talking about who's a better quarterback in the league because we just don't give credit enough to head coaches. And I think Kansas City has the best head coach in the league.
Well, I mean, look at Baltimore in the AFC Conference Championship. Me and Matt talked about this. Matt, what's one of the reasons the Ravens lost that game? Did they stay true to who they were?
No.
They stopped running the ball. Lamar Jackson, they tried to turn him into
a pocket passer.
And that's not what his strength is. Not only did he not run, they didn't run, and they were within striking distance the entire game, where they could have ran the ball back to get back into it, and given their defense a rest, and they didn't do it. And I put a lot of that on Harbaugh and the OC because the defense came out in the second half and stonewalled the Chiefs. They didn't score.
Regina, she's I believe she's a Chiefs fan, and she said, "Of course we do."
Chiefs. Yeah.
I said they always beat us, so yes, of course they do always beat us.
She's just tossing some shade in there.
But she's also a member of the Shakeback Media Group. Everybody should go follow Shakeback Media Group. I was happy to join the team. So yeah. But the last one I got for you, is Josh Allen is clear cut quarterback number 2 in the league behind Patrick Mahomes. when I really put my Bills blinders on, I'll say Josh Allen is one because I think there's things he does better than Mahomes, but Mahomes just beats him. But I have Josh Allen quarterback 2. End of discussion.
Same. Hey, is that Willie Epting? Is that the Shakeback group? Is that what you're playing?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
I was going to
it's
go on
awesome.
one of the shows, but I'm going to be out of town. That's awesome, man. He's really cool. Very nice.
Yeah, he's really
Congrats,
cool.
dude.
He has a show actually. I forget what it's called. Moms of the Shield, I think it is.
Mhm.
But he has he does a show and it has Rashawn Gary's mom and Jalen Guyton's mom on, and he has a show and he kind of gets a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff from an NFL player's perspective. It's really cool. It's really cool. I was very happy that he sent me out there.
So Ben, I got a question for you.
Yes.
And this is your show, and I'm pretty sure your people are going to love this. But has Josh Allen's window for winning a Super Bowl closed?
Ooh.
Absolutely not. There's no way. His window is open for the next 10 years. As long as he's under the center, the window is there. There's no like. I'm going to put my Bills blinders on here like this.
One for you.
Okay.
I'm going to add to this.
There is nobody in the league that is more important to their team than Josh Allen.
Oh, I will not deny that.
He accounts for 75% of our offense. Yeah. He's our whole team. He's our scheme. All of our success comes from him. There is no 4 division titles. There is no four seasons in a row of 40 plus touchdowns. Never been done before. There's no one else like him in the league. He's a true unicorn alien style player. And
he does things nobody else has ever done, even Mahomes. He makes
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
some of them are great. It reminds me of Favre. Okay, I got one. Will they win a Super Bowl, or will they have to fire their coach to actually achieve that goal?
Oh, I wish we would have fired our coach 3 seasons ago.
I'm happy you're on that because I'm not a McDermott fan. I think he's holding Allen back.
As soon as I saw, every once in a while that picture of the 13 seconds game comes up, and I see how our defense was lined up with 13 seconds left in the game. Yeah. And I think back to even not squibbing the kick after Gabe Davis scored that touchdown, so that there was still a full 13 seconds left on the clock, and you got it from the 25-yard line. Why didn't we squib the kick? Why did we give them such a soft coverage? I don't understand.
Press Kelsey, hit him at the line, chuck him, make him take an extra 2 or 3 seconds to get full speed. Yeah. He wouldn't have had time to catch that pass and get down. They could have mathematically eliminated that possibility, and they left the window open.
100%. And then to never get the ball back too is like, it's like it's a thing that like it falls on Josh Allen's shoulders for not winning in the playoffs, but it's like he didn't get the ball in overtime, so it's a little bit hard to put it on him.
So here's my question, and you got your blinders on. It's okay. It's all right. Is Josh Allen going to win a Super Bowl for the Bills?
100%. I don't think
I asked that.
No. You said, didn't you say
in a different way? Yeah, I said that.
Okay, you phrase. How many is he going to win then?
Listen, I'll be happy with one. Just give me one.
His window had closed, I thought, and he said no. Okay, so for similar. Yeah, I got you.
But the way I see it is, it's not this year. If we look at this year as say we only win 5 games this year, but we get a year where Josh Allen can get on the same page as Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel, and we see growth from Kincaid, and our defense has a year to gel and figure out what we're doing. And then we go into 2025 with, I think we'll have like $130 million in cap space once the Stephon Diggs contract is fully gone. Then if that's the worst thing that happens from this season, I think we're laughing for the next 4 or 5 seasons. And I think somewhere, I don't think this year, but I think sometime in the next 5 seasons, I think we get one. At least one.
Do you think he has the weaponry, or do you think they need to upgrade at receiver?
No, I think right now our biggest issue is pass rush and defensive backs.
I'm going to agree, because I think that's the Chiefs got smart. They were like, okay, we're going to forfeit Tyreek Hill, and we're going to fortify the hell out of this D. And you and Kelsey and Pacheco can figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows, it's nice to have James Cook be like a good running back, but like the way the league is going right now,
dude.
running backs are a dime a dozen.
You're big on Davis, right? Matt?
Yeah, no, I'm huge on Ray Davis. If he was someone that got over 1,000 yards at Vanderbilt, I mean, that says enough right there. I mean,
what about Frank Gore Jr.? What do you think of him?
Oh, he's a solid running back. I think Ray Davis is a little bit better because you really last year when you looked at y'all's running back, or y'all didn't really have someone that would really punch it up in the middle. You know what I'm saying? James Cook, he's fast, elusive. I wish that he could actually catch the ball, like you said earlier, but
yeah,
it's just one of those things where he's more of a scat back. With Ray Davis, you got someone that can actually pound it and can still break it down long ways. But question
That's
for
why
you.
you're big on Audric Estime, right? Because he's a bigger guy. Estime, he's bigger, right?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Your Bronco, the Notre Dame guy that you loved.
Oh yeah, Audric Estime. Yeah, he's slow, but he's a big power back. I'm glad you said his first name.
No. I just thought if I said Estime, you would know. Audric Estime, Notre Dame for the Broncos. I actually think he could take over that Broncos job.
He could. So, Ben.
Yes.
Some other moves that y'all have made, I just want to kind of look at this. One of them being Mitch Morse. How's that going to be translate over into this season after he was pretty much Josh Allen's center for pretty much his whole career so far?
That's going to be the one that affects us the most. We got McGovern trying to slide over and play center. I don't think that it's going that well. We drafted Georgia's center, Van Pran Granger.
That's a good pick, actually.
Hey, I liked him.
I think the move right now is just to put him at center and go with that and keep McGovern where he's comfortable playing. We had a good O-line last year. It's one of the things that gets overlooked a lot about Josh Allen is his ability to avoid sacks, and he has the lowest sack percentage of any quarterback. So like, even if our offensive line, we don't need the 90s Dallas Cowboys offensive line. We just need stellar offensive line play. And I think the loss of Mitch Morse is going to be massive because in my mind, they're not fixing the problem how they should, because they should just put Granger in there and let him go. We saw last year, we had Osiris Torrance start and play every game at guard. You can do it. If you get a good enough player, you can have someone as a rookie play their whole season on the offensive line, and we just need to let them do it.
And Torrance was a steal out of Florida. I mean, the dude is basically the size of a small planet. I mean, it's Pluto sitting there. Another question I have for you is, of course, y'all went out and y'all kind of went all in trying to get that edge rusher that was, of course, Von Miller, and he ended up getting hurt. Do you see him having any kind of impact this season, or you think he's already started in that decline?
The stuff I've seen from him this offseason looks like he'll be somewhat back. I don't think he's ever going to get back to the 15 or even double digit sack totals that we're used to seeing from him. But it is that thing where most of the times we see it after a knee injury, your second season back, you're kind of back to what you used to be a little bit, or you're a little bit more normal. It feels normal. It's all the stuff. There's no more mental struggle with coming back from the knee injury anymore. It's kind of completely gone from your head and from your body, and you can. So I think we'll get a better version of Von Miller. I think what it ended up being was we paid him. How it worked out was we ended up paying him like $5 million per tackle last season because he had like 3 tackles. So I think we'll get more out of Von Miller than we did last year, but I don't think he's our answer. I think Greg Rousseau, I think is a way better pass rusher than him. I think Epinesa is a better pass rusher than him. And then we have the 2 guys in the middle that eat up the double teams in Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver, and they kind of get a lot of the attention. So it kind of frees up the guys on the outside. But what the Bills do a lot on defense is they take Teron Johnson or someone from the outside and blitz them. And so even if we even if Von Miller is eating up a tackle, it's freeing up Teron Johnson to come get a sack or put pressure on the quarterback.
It was an ACL tear, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just tough to come back at his age. He was like 33 when it happened. I think he'll be 35 this year. That's just rough. It's hard to come back at that age. It just really is. That's what I'm concerned about. I know it's an Achilles, but that's what I'm concerned about with even just a quarterback with Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. Like, they're both, one's 36 and the other one's 40. It's just tough to come back at that age from those injuries.
100%.
Most guys can't do it.
So the last portion of the show, we're going to wrap it up here because we're just over an hour now. The last portion, I know it's probably going to be you guys talking to each other, but you each get 1 minute. You can talk to the rival fan of the fan base from your rival team. You got a minute to say whatever you want for the upcoming season.
You go and go first there.
All right. Okay. So Caleb Williams is going to be the next quarterback just to just desecrate the remains of Soldier Field before they get a new stadium. Okay. And it's just going to be another, now we're going on 40 years of misery without a quarterback. I mean, if forgetting about Jay Cutler, I mean, he was excellent. And Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky were all awesome quarterbacks. But, I think Caleb's going to be a bust. And I think that he is being a little overrated. And let's see him actually play some games first, because the Bears even if you count McMahon, they haven't had a franchise quarterback since Sid Luckman. So good luck with that. You want to take a page out of how to actually have a quarterback work, have him sit with a vet or actually have a vet. Caleb Williams is learning from Ted Bagent. Come on. This is not hard. Sign a vet, give him a chance. I went only 55 seconds. There you go.
Oh, you got 5 more seconds. Go ahead.
They're stuck.
And now you starting to sound like Jason. All right.
Oh, so and it's been you haven't won this decade. Sorry, I'm gonna slide that on.
That's okay. That's good. That's all right, because you know what's going to happen? Jordan Love is going to become Charmin Soft after he signed a massive ass contract, and he's just going to just crap the bed. I mean, he's going to throw. You're going to see Jordan Love from like the first half of the season, not with the second half when he became Superman for some reason and got rid of the kryptonite. No, you're going to have first season Jordan Love. Of course, he might still beat the Bears because that's what the Packers do. But at the same time, I'm just, the defense is going to have like 31 points average hung up on them every single game. And that's at home. That's not accounting what's going to happen in a way, because y'all don't play defense. Y'all just get Hall of Fame quarterbacks and not win Super Bowls with them. So, I mean, it is what it is. You got some, it is what it is. I mean, y'all's inspiration for y'all's uniforms was the Waste Management trash cans that sit out in the front yard, yellow top, green middles.
And they do, actually.
They do. They do.
I've been to Green Bay and they do. It's great.
Big G. Garbage. In fact, y'all's icon on the side of your helmet, y'all stole it from Georgia. Come on, man. Be original.
It's gonna pain you that we have piss and shit colors and we still are better than you guys.
Okay, one last one. I just thought of this one. I just thought of this one. I want to end on a positive note instead of just the ranting.
Oh, that was positive.
I want to end on a positive note, and you, Isaac, you have to say who the best Bear of all time and who your favorite Bears player of all time was. And then Med, you have to give who your favorite Packer is and who the best Packer in the franchise history is.
The best is Walter Payton, but my favorite's probably Brian Urlacher. I didn't actually live through Payton. And I know Med was really little when Payton was still solid. So I don't know if he actually remembers Payton very much either. But no, it's got to be Brian Urlacher. And that was why I was disappointed to let go of Roquan Smith, because he looked like the next coming of that great linebacker for the Bears. But, man, Edmonds is pretty special too. So, no, I'm going to go Brian Urlacher. I'm sad he didn't get a ring. Legitimately, he was an awesome player. I actually went to UNM where he went, and he was awesome. But Walter Payton is tied for my best running back of all time. It's splitting hairs with Barry and Jim Brown.
I agree with that. With me, I would say the greatest Packer of all time would probably be Bart Starr. I mean, the dude won 5 championships altogether, including 2 Super Bowls. And I mean, you look at how famous at the time, you know, the NFL was first coming in and the AFL was started to play the Super Bowl is what it was called. There was a lot of pressure on the Green Bay Packers to win those games against the Chiefs and the Raiders. And it was kind of like a, hey, don't lose this. Our
especially with
image,
that team.
everything.
Yeah.
And so, and then also there was the Ice Bowl with Dallas, which started a really great interleague rivalry that is even today resonates. So, and
Great
to
rivalry.
me,
I love it.
and to me, my favorite Packer of all time, if I was to actually choose someone, it will not be Aaron Rodgers. I can't stand the motherfucker. But
He's my favorite Packer. He's by
Okay.
far my favorite Packer of all time.
God, I'm sorry.
I think this pisses me off as a person.
Yeah. Ray Nitschke, actually.
Ooh, good pick. I was wondering where you're going.
Another old school player from back in the day. Just if you ever watch any of the, like, I love documentaries and stuff. In fact, if you ever watched the episode where we had Ken Crippen with us, who's a football
Man,
historian,
you would love this guy, dude.
you got to
get he's really chill too. I'd reach out to him if I were you. His knowledge, and he loves the Bills.
He's a Bills
dude.
fan.
You are gonna just eat this up, man. This guy's
He even
awesome.
wrote a Bills book. So
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Okay, got my next guest ready to go.
there you
I'll
go.
send it to you after the show. Football Learning Academy.
Yeah.
I would reach out to Football Learning Academy first. That's where he responds.
One of the cool things about Ray Nitschke was they actually have a room. If you ever get a chance to go to Canton, do it. It's just amazing. Tip actually said on his thing, it smells. It does. They have like the power poles are made out of field goal posts and stuff like that. But inside Canton, where the players get to eat, all the Hall of Famers, when they come and meet once a year, they named it the Ray Nitschke Room because he would actually have a speech that he would actually deliver to the new class every year before his death, to where he would actually say, you don't understand how much of an honor it is to actually be in here. You don't have any idea what it takes, and what you might have an idea. You definitely don't have an idea, but he would inspire you to realize how great of an honor that you are literally a legend in this game and you're going to live forever. And, he is by far from one of the best inspirational speakers in the game, up there with like Ray Lewis and all of them. So I would say Ray Nitschke.
Okay, right on.
He's
So
a hell of a player too.
now's my turn. I think I said it before. Aaron Rodgers is my favorite Green Bay Packer of all time. Right behind him actually is a kind of like just because I have a childhood memory because my aunt is a big Packers fan, so I remember watching Packers when I was a kid. Antonio Freeman, the wide receiver.
Yeah,
I just remember watching him play, and then he had that highlight where he kicked the ball up against Minnesota and ended up scoring the touchdown. So I've liked him, and I think the best is Bart Starr. I don't know. I didn't watch, though I wasn't around back then, but just from what you hear about him, it sounds like he was the best. The best Bear of all time, I'd have to say again, is Walter Payton. I think that's pretty standard around the NFL. He's arguably a top 5 all-time any position player.
Him or Dick Butkus are the two I always hear.
Yeah, and my favorite is
or Ditka
is Devin Hester. I really liked watching. There's only a handful of guys that like will get you to watch a game. Like you tune in just to see him try and return a punt.
Yep. Him and Dante Hall,
especially against the Colts in the Super Bowl, they're taking the opening one back. Like stuff like that they're very special kind of guys. But right there, I just had it. Oh, right there with him is Mike Singletary. I loved it. I love watching. Anytime I'm in a bad mood, I watch a Mike Singletary mic'd up, little documentary about him and see him. And there's that famous clip of him standing there and his eyes are just like this big, but he's like laser focused on what's going. And besides Ray Lewis, I can't picture like a more scary player to be lined up against or on the other side of the football from. So those are my Bears.
I got another underrated one for you fast. Matt Forte. He was so much fun to watch.
He was fun to watch.
He
Yeah.
was a really good receiving back. He was an underrated runner.
Oh,
He
it's everything.
had some all-time great seasons. It wasn't like super long, but he was a hell of a receiver too. He was fun.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So thank you very much. We'll give you one last chance. Plug your shows. Tell us where we can find you, social medias, all that good stuff.
Med, when's Blitz?
So, well, I'll actually I'll do it like this. My personal show is on Thursdays from 7:15ish to about 8:15 on Thursday nights, and then with my homeboy Isaac, who is Fun Football Podcast, we do Blitz, and that is on Tuesdays at what?
I think we decided 7:30 most nights.
7:30. Okay.
Unless we have a massive panel.
Eastern time.
Unless we have a massive panel. And then we'll start at 7 to have the hour and a half with a huge panel. Like next Tuesday, we might want to start at 7 because we have 3 different fantasy guys coming on.
We'll talk about that later. You discuss, you plug your show.
Fun Football Podcast. You can find me on Friday nights at 8 Eastern most weeks. This week, I'm going to do it at 9 Eastern because we've got Scott Engel. I'm really excited. Med doesn't even know this yet. Scott Engel, Sirius XM fantasy host and Seahawks writer, and he does something else. And Fantasy's Phineas are going to hop on with me and my dad and talk some fantasy football. So
right on, guys. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming. I know it was a last minute thing, so very, very happy that you guys can
thanks for
join us. Again, I'm Ben, Mafia Members Podcast, a podcast for the Bills Mafia by the Bills Mafia. Newest member of the Shakeback Media Group. You can find me on Twitter, all social media at Mafia Members Podcast. Go check out the link in my Twitter bio. You might be able to buy yourself a Mafia Members t-shirt. I got a store set up there, so everyone go check that out. Thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll definitely have you guys back on the show.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you.
That was a lot louder than I thought it would be.